When we landed in Kuwait, we had to get onto a bus that's going to drive us to my first base was TQ. It's about like a 9-10 hour drive from where we were at. So we had a convoy of buses. And my staff sergeant comes up to me and he was like, "Hey, Alexander, you're going to be the guardian angel for this bus." And I was like, "Oh, okay. What does that mean?" And he handed me 3 magazines fully loaded. And he was like, "You're the only person with rounds on this bus. So this is what your job's going to do. You're going to sit in this front seat. You're not going to go to sleep. You're going to see everyone around you going to sleep. It's not your job. Let them go to sleep. Your job is to make them be able to go to sleep. And you're going to keep your eyes fixed on the driver," because the driver was a Haji. And he said, "If you see the driver pull out a cell phone, shoot him. If the bus stops whenever it's not supposed to, meaning the other convoy it's still proceeding, but this bus decides to stop or take a detour, shoot him. If anybody who's not in a military uniform or actually a Marine Corps uniform steps onto this bus or tries to step onto this bus, I want you to shoot him. And if there's a problem, I need to know now. Because I can't have somebody who's in a state of hesitation." He goes, "I pulled you to the side because I feel you can do this job, and you're going to. But if you can't do that, I need to know." And I was like, "No, Staff Sergeant, I got this." But it was just like that was the first time I actually been to a foreign country, and my first day there. Not even an hour goes by, and already I'm being told you're going to have to shoot somebody. That was like a dark omen for what my deployment was going to be like. That was the first thought in my head is this is what's happened the first day. I can only imagine what I'm about to be through. Well, I don't even know what I'm about to do or go through. And the movies make killing somebody out to be glorious, and they make it out to be so easy, and it's just something you do, and it's not the truth. Um, it was hard. It messed the first time it happened. It was very, very hard for me. It messed with my head a lot. But once I started losing my guys for the first time, I became numb. There was no feelings inside of me. There was no emotions inside of me. My heart just stone grew in its place, and I never hesitated to even pull the trigger ever again. It was to the point where it made it easy, because all I know is you killed my friend, so now I'm gonna kill you and your family and your friends and whoever's associated with you. So at that point, it's kind of sucky to say, but I'm a little bit glad that it happened, because it definitely changed my mindset, and it definitely helped me do my job better and helped me to do the things that I had to do to bring my men home safe. I know, I mean, they paid the ultimate sacrifice, but I was able to bring some of them home, and that's all that really matters to me. That was my way. That was my way, I guess, saying thank you to the guys who paid the ultimate sacrifice that were with me, by bringing the rest of them home safe. And that's really all that went through my mind. When I came home, I was a wreck. I was drinking. I never even been a big drinker. When I was in high school, I smoked pot. That's what I did. I was a stoner kid. I never drank. But when I got back from Iraq, that's all I did. I didn't want to go to sleep because I was having nightmares. I saw the faces even when I was awake. There's times I didn't want to be awake or asleep. They were just there all the time. It was really bad when I went to sleep, because that's when the nightmares happened. So I started using cocaine just because it'd keep me awake, and I did that for I was on home on leave for about 4 or 5 days, actually being able to be home, and I was in a relationship with my ex-wife. We had been engaged at that point, and I remember our whole relationship had been based on Facebook, because we got together whenever I was in 29 Palms. And the first time I ever went to her house, I was completely wasted. I was completely wasted and strung out on cocaine, and it just went downhill from there. I mean, once I got back, I couldn't use cocaine anymore because they drug tested, so I just drank even more. Once I got out of the military, and came home, all those issues were still there. And I was still under the impression that I didn't have PTSD, because in the Marine Corps, if you have PTSD, you're weak. If you admit that you have PTSD, you're going to get locked up on the 6th floor of the VA hospital down at Camp Pendleton for the next 7 months of your life, and no one's going to see you. So I didn't have it. I was too much of a man to have PTSD. And my ex-wife, she put up with as much as she could. She did. She tried her best to make it work, but the mindset that I was in, nothing was gonna work. Absolutely nothing. All I wanted to do was just drink and drink and drink. And then when she left me, finally when she left me, we got divorced. It got even worse. That's when I really went to a dark place. That's when I started doing all kinds of drugs and going downtown and getting wasted and picking a fight with the biggest dude in the bar, hoping he would take my life because I wasn't gonna do it. I wasn't man enough to kill myself, and I knew what it would do to my family if I did. So I was just hoping somebody else would do it for me. When I finally hit rock bottom, I'd come to, and I was in a meth house, and I just watched one of my really really good friends overdose, and once I watched that happen, that's when it really kicked into gear. Because the first thought that popped in my head was, what if that was you, and your daughter will spend the rest of her life, and her friends and her family are gonna spend the rest of their life with the knowledge that your daddy overdosed on drugs. That's how he went out, and I wasn't gonna have that. I didn't survive 8 months in Iraq just to come home and overdose as a junkie. That wasn't gonna happen for me. When I first came to the foundation, I didn't say a word to those guys for at least a year. I'd show up and just listen. I still didn't think I had PTSD, honestly. The foundation actually pointed it out and made me realize if you didn't have PTSD, you wouldn't be here. And when I finally came to Camp Hope, I was bartending. I was an alcoholic as a bartender. What was I thinking? And I had like 4 or 5 warrants for my arrest. I was sleeping on my friend's couch. I was homeless. And when I came to Camp Hope, it was what I needed, because a lot of people in my life, the ones who didn't just give up on me, they would baby me, and they were too afraid to tell me how it was and to be real with me and honest. The people here weren't. Like, they held me accountable, and that's what I needed. Really, it's just about talking about it. That was a main breakthrough for me, was actually being able to tell my story. Because the first time I told somebody what actually happened in Iraq was my ex-wife, and all she said to me was, "I don't know if I can think of you the same," and hung up the phone. Didn't talk to me for like 3 weeks. So I didn't want to tell nobody. I honestly thought with the things that I'd done in Iraq that I belonged to Satan. And Camp Hope changed that. They told me I was able to look across the table from somebody and give my story, and them just tell me, you did what you had to do. Like, I was in that same situation. I've done the exact same things, and it's not easy, but you did what you had to do. And that was a real breakthrough for me. It changed the way I thought. A lot of veterans think, well, we fought for especially me. I was very arrogant when I came back, especially being a Marine, having survived 8 months in Iraq. I was stupid arrogant. The world owed me everything because I fought for your freedom, and I fought for this country, and the only reason you're doing the things that you're doing are because of me, and that's a bunch of crap. I didn't get drafted. No one made me sign that contract. I volunteered to go to Iraq. I volunteered. No one owes me anything. Once you change your thinking, you change your life. And it did. It saved my life. If it wasn't for Camp Hope, there's only 2 places that people like me end up in. It's either jail or the cemetery. And I could have easily ended up in both. And I came here, and they gave me a place to sleep, a roof over my head, food in my stomach. I didn't have to bounce around on couches, and they just held me accountable, and they helped me work through the issues that I have. I could sit in front of a psychiatrist all day long and tell them my story, and they're gonna look at me, oh, I can relate to how you feel. No, you can't. You have no freaking clue how I feel, because you don't know you have no idea what it's like to do what I did. You don't. I don't care how many years you spent in college. You're not prepared for what I've done. So don't patronize me and act like you do. But if I sit in front of a veteran who's been there and done that, and they look at me and say, I know how you feel, they do. And that was really big for me, was actually being able to talk to somebody about it and not be judged. Because that's the one thing that we get a lot of, is judged. If your daughter was with you right now, how would she benefit? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, if your daughter was right, with the condition you're in now, and the state that you're in right now, if she were here with you, would that benefit her? And it was like a slap in the face. I had to say no, it wouldn't be. And he goes, good. Now get your crap together and be the father that your daughter already thinks that you are. And that's what really pushed me forward to actually getting help and to stop being a little crybaby and throwing myself a pity party. I'm a crazy war veteran with issues, and actually step up to the plate and take care of those issues. It was at her birthday. I hadn't seen her in almost a year. And at first she was real shy around me at first because she hadn't spent time with me. But she started to warm up to me, and I went to the living room, and she had Lincoln Logs. I've loved Lincoln Logs ever since I was a kid. I can build all kinds of stuff with Lincoln Logs. So I just started playing, hoping she'd warm up and come over there and start playing with me. And she did. She kind of looked at me for a little while, and she kind of came over there, and she started handing me Lincoln Logs. I was like, hey, how you doing, sweetie? He goes, Daddy, where have you been? Like, you haven't been here. Where have you been? And I told her, I was like, baby, Daddy had issues. Daddy had to go somewhere and work on those issues, but I'm okay now, and I'm better. And she looked at me, and she said, Daddy's a better daddy now. And she was sitting in my lap, and she asked me, can I come home with you now? And I said, no, baby, I can't come home with you. And she said, well, then can I come home with you? Can we just go somewhere? Can we just, I don't care where we go, but can we just go somewhere? I want to spend time with you. And that tore me apart, because that's the first time I actually saw what my issues did to somebody else. Because I was a very selfish person. I didn't care how my actions affected others. And when I looked in her eyes, and she genuinely wanted to be with me, and she wanted to come home with me, or me with her, it was huge. I'd never felt that way before. And ever since then, I went to court. I get her every other weekend now. I get her first, third, and fifth weekend all the time. Camp Hope made me realize that I had issues that I had to deal with. And those issues aren't going to go away. PTSD is not a sickness that you take medication for and it just goes away. The VA wants to pump you full of medication and sends you on your way. And that's not, it's just a Band-Aid. What combat veterans have to get through is we have those triggers, and they're going to be there for the rest of our lives. But there's ways to work through them. There's ways to get through that anxiety without drinking or doing drugs or going and getting bar fights. There's ways to channel that anger and that pain that you feel into something good. I mean, we talk about it all the time in the meetings. Like, we have to grieve, and that's one thing that we don't want to do. The foundation, it helped me realize that God never left me. He was there the entire time. The thing about God is he gives us the gift of free will. He could easily come down here and stop all this from happening, but he's not going to, because the struggles that I went through and the things that I've been through, he let me go through that for a reason. And I think now he's going to use those struggles and those situations that I was in to help bring people towards him, because that made me a stronger person. And it made me, now I'm able to talk to people and tell them I went through that same situation and look where I'm at now. I was very angry, and I was very sad at the same time. Because like I said earlier, I honestly felt that the things that I've done over there, like, I belong to Satan. I didn't think there's no way God would ever forgive me. And I didn't think he wanted to. The things that I saw over there, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I mean, people in America, we live in a bubble. They have no idea what goes on in other countries. Their day-to-day lives, their biggest problem is, you didn't bring me creamer with my coffee. And this was, oh my God, the world's gonna end. They have no idea that there's kids who haven't even eaten, much less drink coffee with cream in it. Those people fought for 45 years just to survive. You speak one bad word against Saddam, and some three insurgents bust into your house and snatch you up, and your family never sees you again. You don't see that here in America. We're free here. We get to do whatever we want, and people take it for granted. I definitely did. And after going through those situations, I mean, I just thought God had just completely abandoned it. I couldn't understand how he could let that happen, how he could let people suffer that way. I just didn't get it. But he never left. That's the main thing that they helped me realize, is that God did forgive me, which means I should forgive myself, because I didn't forgive myself for a long time. I was very angry with the things that I did. And the foundation not only helped me realize that God forgives me, but they helped me realize that the things that I did were for a reason. And I did what I had to do to bring me myself and my fellow Marines home safely. And it's okay what I did. God allowed that to happen because those are situations that I needed to be in. And now, like I said earlier, I get to use those to help other people. Because God's not going to give you anything you can't handle. You may think you can't handle it, but you can. That's why He's giving it to you. That's how. I mean, what else is there? Faith wouldn't exist if everyday life was just hunky dory and easy go, like no problems, no issues. We wouldn't need faith. We go through our struggles for a reason. God puts us through these tests because He knows we're going to come out on the other end stronger. And I have. I've become a lot stronger individual just just by being in the Marines and coming to this foundation. I would like to say thank you from the absolute bottom of my heart. Thank you, because without this foundation, I would not be where I am today. I would become one of the. I would honestly be one of the statistics of veterans who don't get help. Because I mean, there's times when I completely just put crap on this foundation, and that's just it's what we do, and they never gave up on me. A lot of people that have dealt with my issues, they end up giving up on me. And this foundation to this day has yet to give up on me, and that means everything to me. And there's nothing more than I want than to give back to the foundation and do everything that I can to help them and to help other veterans as well, because this foundation saved my life. And I want to be one of the people who goes out and reaches other veterans before they get to the position that I'm in, or I was. I want to keep them from being a statistic, because I think it's jumped up to what, 24 veterans kill themselves a day, about one an hour. That that's not okay with me. I could have been that statistic. So now all I want is to be that guiding force and to help and bring people here, because this place will save their life, just like it did mine.